right, good evening, everyone. Here we are. We got Build the Bone here, Mr. Shane. How you doing today, sir?
Doing great, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Awesome. So I gotta say, what's that buck on that picture back there, man? That's proof in the pudding, huh?
That is proof in the pudding. That is Vic Creto's deer. It's in MacArthur, Ohio. They're in Michigan. They have a farm. He manages deer. He does protein feed. Hammers build the bone to it. And no joke, this deer went from upper 160s, best they could tell from the pictures, to 205 and 6/8.
Holy crap.
And one year,
That was
they knew
one
they
year
had
jump.
one. 1 year jump. And they knew they had him. They watched him the year before. They do a great job managing. And, it takes genetics. It takes a lot of things. But when you get the combination right, it was a huge jump. And they are the biggest believers in the world, as well as many others out there. And
Awesome.
People really just have to see it for themselves.
Great. Well, we'll get into a little bit more detail there, but I just looked down and saw that and I had to ask. So
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's just like our guy who went from 160 to 214,
Yes.
in 1 year. In 1 year.
Johnny Maxwell.
Yep. Maxwell.
Yep. And then it's Troy in our language. That's like our 80-inch went to like 120. So think of it
Nice.
just to clarify for you and me.
Gotcha.
That's
So,
that's what we're working with here. Okay.
So yeah. All right, I can understand that.
It's not always like that.
All right, we got Mr. Troy Forrester here coming from Ohio. How's the weather out there? Is it broken yet?
Oh well, we've been having flooding and rain and all kinds of craziness, tornado warnings all afternoon, and but I'd say it's spring. It's finally spring. I let the wood burner go out yesterday, actually. So
nice. So you actually
Troy, what part of Ohio?
Right in the middle. I live kind of near Mansfield, Ohio, in between Columbus and Cleveland.
I'm halfway between Cincinnati and Columbus myself. So
Oh, nice. Yeah, we're not too far off then. I live
Nice.
not at all.
yeah, it's beautiful up here. I can't complain one bit.
Yes, sir.
So we'll have
Yes,
to get
sir.
some Build-A-Bone out there on those farms you got and get them growing.
Yeah, I need to. That'll all start here real soon.
That's already started, brother. Already started. All right, Mr. Cedric O'Hara is back from the night shift. Missed a couple episodes here in the beginning. We forgive you. It's okay.
I appreciate it.
Someone's got to make money on this podcast because we certainly are not. But we'll get into your scarring here in a little bit. I know you got a little bit of a story there, but I got to ask, that picture behind your head, is it a cow or is it a dog?
Yeah, it's a Highland cow, courtesy of my wife.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah,
It makes sense
big
now.
into the Highland cows.
The professional photographer.
Yeah, exactly.
I got to admit, man, like, I'm kind of jealous. I'm not going to lie.
Of Joe's? I mean,
I'm gonna have to admit it. Not of you and Joe's, because you guys are perfect and I have my own, but like of her talent. Like,
yeah, dude,
there is shit that she puts out that's just like,
and there's a lot of dude.
Yeah.
I tell everybody, like, obviously what her and I do, I'm just 5% of it. You know what I mean? She's 95% of it. But we sent a bunch of stuff over to Kings. We started working with them here a while back, and
they posted almost all of it.
Yeah, I mean, just like that. I mean, they put us into like their spring collection and a bunch of stuff. And I was talking with them yesterday, and they're like, "Dude, we are, blown away." And I mean, it's fun because, like, I have like the eye that like I see in other content and stuff like that helps give me ideas. But man, just like for somebody that isn't like a hunter, essentially, like she likes being outdoorsy and stuff like that, but not being a hunter, to just the eye that she has for things is just phenomenal. And even that, like, just the set, like, to have her settings as perfect as she can, like, she has those things dialed. You know what I mean? To where the color's amazing. It's crispy. I mean, yep.
So does she have a setting to make me look skinny when I'm out there?
She can do that. She can do that.
She shrink my head down a little bit.
All right, you guys are coming out this hunting season. It's going to make Troy look bigger and me look smaller.
I used to have a sponsor, a bow sponsor in the day. I'm not going to mention a name, but my cameraman actually went through and he slimmed my belly down. He's like, "Watch this." Boom. And they actually used it as a poster at the ATA. So
nice.
Cool. But
you should have had a before and after poster.
Before the hunt, I'm skinny. After the hunt, I'm fat.
You gotta celebrate, man. You gotta celebrate. Awesome. Mr. Noel Evans, thanks for coming on. We got
Absolutely.
a product of Build the Bone right there behind you on the wall. My inspiration. I love that deer. But yeah, what's going on? Anything new there, Noel? I haven't heard from you in a while. You've been pretty quiet.
No, I've been busy getting ready to go to Canada in a couple weeks, and
You're here in what, 2 weeks or so? You're going up there?
18 days we leave. So
Sweet.
excited about that.
Nice. Yeah, he's going up to shoot some big Bruins up there in Canada, hopefully.
Yep. I've been watching the weather. It's like 27 in the morning and
Perfect.
45 in the evening. So yeah,
wait for a
not
color
too bad.
phased bear.
If I
That's
can.
my dream. I got a bunch of these big black ones on the wall here around my house that I've shot, but I want a color phase. That's my dream. If I was to
There
pick
you go.
anything, color phase bear.
No,
We're
that'd
not
be
get-
awesome, but I'm not going to be too picky my first trip and trying to, get as much video as I can for the TV show. So I'll jump in somebody else's blind with them, and
Yeah. The rule of bear
Yeah.
hunting is this: if it looks like a dog, it's probably too small.
Are you
Yeah, no,
flying or
it's-
driving, Noel?
flying.
Okay,
Yeah, it's in
I was gonna
Alberta,
say.
northern Alberta. So,
Yeah.
but what they have here is pretty cool how he does it. He actually puts a T-post in the ground where these bears come in at. And so when they come into the bait piles, you can actually see if it's not as tall as the T-post, it's too small. If he's above the T-post, he's a shooter.
Yeah.
Pretty smart idea.
That's what we
Yeah,
did. We
really.
where we had our property up in Troy where we're going hunting. It's probably not there now, but my grandfather growing up had a full-size mount bear that was 250 pounds. So we measured it from the leg to the top of the shoulder, and we would spray paint a line on the tree, or we would get barrels, that would match that. And if it was above the barrel, you were good. If it was below that, no go. But yeah, a lot of
Very
places do
smart.
that. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, I
There
would
you
have
go.
I would have no idea how a big bear, a little bear, so
I won't let you
good.
shoot a little one. Trust me. My brother, Jacob, he confirmed our dates. We're good for September. We're going.
Sweet.
Cedric or Noel, or Shane, if you want to come, if you can get up to New York, we're doing a bear hunt, September 13th at a family property up there. We got a ton of bears, bunch of
Nice.
locations.
Awesome.
We're going for 3-4 days. So if you want to join, you're more than welcome. Let us
Never
know.
been yet.
But archery, bear, tags are cheap. We got free housing. I cook. I'm a
Yeah,
chef.
he's a
so
good cook.
We'll
So
be good. We'll be good
must
there.
eat good.
So if you want to come, just let me know. Send me
Awesome.
the deets. We'll get you there.
Thank you.
But yeah,
The
man.
archery shop and a podcast, but really his true calling is cooking.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
You don't get this big by not eating well.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I know.
Right?
See, I look skinny from like here to here, but it's the rest of it that's there. That's why I don't hunt in the saddle. Although Benny's
God
making
bless.
me a saddle.
That's heck yeah.
He's
You're
making
gonna
me a
love
saddle. I said it's for picture purposes only.
Yeah.
I'm
He's
sure
like, he's like, you're gonna have a picture of you 1.5 feet off the ground, aren't you? I'm like, yep.
I'm sure they have small, medium, large, extra large, but do they have an XF? Extra fat?
He'll make you whatever
No,
That'd be
size
for
you
me.
need. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, I just have the belly. I don't have anything else. That's where I need Cedric and Troy to come into play,
Yeah,
but they
that's
won't.
really-
They won't help. They just.
I
They
just
say,
want one. I want one with a winch on it so I can just lift myself up.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Why not?
Somebody was talking about that not too long ago.
That's when you have your own property, like I have here. We'll just run a
Yeah.
cord. We'll put that winch, that hoist up there, that hoist the bears, and you just latch on. Right
I'm
up.
all for trying it. It's a good video.
Oh, that's hysterical. I love it.
Well, that's good too because it's for bears, so there's not a weight limit, I would imagine.
Yeah. No. 400 or 500 pounds. Just don't put it on. Well, they say my buddy is a tree guy, and he said as long as the limb is as big as your wrist, it'll hold your body weight no matter what you are. So it's got to be the minimum of your wrist, and it'll hold your body weight.
Well,
So a little
I
trick.
don't know. I've been on. I grew up in construction. I've been on many ladders that said "Don't exceed this amount." And they still held. So
Yeah, when you're 20 feet in the air and you read that, you're like, I don't know.
you start
read that
climbing, you
before,
look around
yeah.
to see if anybody's watching.
Oh
See,
man.
Troy and Cedric don't have those issues. We do.
No,
We
they're
all
gym
good.
rats.
Yeah, gym rats. Oh,
Mhm.
that's funny. Well, Mr. Cedric, you've been lucky in your turkey season so far. 2 out of 3 hunts,
Yep.
Awesome.
birds on the board.
Yep.
So things got a little Western on you there, huh?
Dadgum, I see it now.
Yeah, man.
You told me
freaking-
about it on the phone the other day, but that's the first time I've seen it.
See, if
Yeah.
you shoot a bow, that won't happen unless you're
That's
I
exactly
know.
what I told him. I said,
really
you put
F it up.
I said,
I
you put a
know.
shotgun in a bow hunter's hands. Look what happens. He said, I know.
I know, man. We it was an awesome hunt. Had one of my best friends here in Missouri with me. And so we go to one farm and it's miserable. It's right by the highway. You can't hear anything. We don't hear a single bird. So then I text a buddy. I'm like, hey, can I run over to this other farm? He's like, yeah, go ahead, good luck. And so we get out there and we're out there for an hour just yelping. I mean, yelping, cutting, yelping, cutting. We actually had a bearded hen, a hen with probably about a 6 to 7 inch beard come out. And so I was giving him
Wow.
I was giving him
Bang.
I was giving him a hard time. I was like, "What kind of turkeys you raising out here?" You know what I mean? And
They
so
all
that was
taste the
awesome.
same, my friend.
Yeah, that's true. So so she kept us around. We were gonna peace out and get out of there. And it was, probably 9 o'clock. And
So wait, stop for a second. So this whole thing that's going on in America today has made it all the way into the turkey demographics,
yeah,
where we got
yes.
bearded hens now. Jesus,
Yeah.
man.
My buddy
We got
was
bucks with antlers. We got guys with. I'm not even gonna go there.
my
but
buddy was
yeah.
laughing. He was like, man, I can't believe that there isn't a Tom or at least a Jake, with her. And I was like, dude, I was like, what? Tom wants to come in there when she might have a bigger beard than him. You know what I
Nope.
mean? Like, no way. And
Rule
so,
number 1 of go to the bar when you're 22.
yeah, exactly.
Don't
So
go away with anyone with a bigger beard than you.
yeah. So, but anyways, we yelped for like an hour, man. We were getting ready to get out of there, but thankfully she kind of kept us interested, kept us around, and then man, probably about just I don't know 9:15, this bird fires off, probably about 400 or 500 yards away on the neighbor, and but I mean he starts just hammering off, double gobbling just like crazy. And I was like, man, this might happen, but he had to come down a giant hill, cross a road, go through a fence, and cross a creek to get to us. And I was like, man, like it's a lot of obstacles. And so I just kind of shut up for a little bit and he kept firing off, kept firing off, kept firing off. I'd cut at him, he'd fire off, he'd double gobble. I was like, man, this might happen. And so I just shut up for a while. I set a timer on my phone. I set it for 10 minutes. And I was like, I'm not going to call for 10 minutes. And the next time he just fired off, he wasn't far. And I was like, this is going to happen. And but the way we were sitting in a power line cut. And I didn't have any decoys out or anything like that. And so he finally comes in and it looked like he was going to skirt the edge of the power line cut, which is about 50 yards. And I was shooting TSS, extra full choke. Like I felt fine shooting at 50. And but there was like tall CRP kind of in between us. And so he gets in front of us and just fires off. And he's looking around, trying to find the hen and he can't. So it looks like he's getting ready to skirt the edge of us on his power line cut. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna send it. And so I'm shooting a hawk. So some backstory on my shotgun, I have a hawk optic 1-4x20, like MOA dot turkey scope.
Yeah.
And thing's legit, it's pretty sweet. And so I just put I put it right on him and let it rip and it rolls him and like he starts flapping around and I'm like, oh sweet. Well, then he gets his legs under him and starts taking off. And I'm like, oh crap. And so after my first initial shot, like my shotgun isn't shouldered like it should be, right? Like it's kind of like up here just a little bit. And I just look through the scope real quick, find him and just turn and shoot. And it hit me right in the freaking face, man.
Oh.
And I shot so far behind him, there's no way it even connected. And so I'm sitting there, I'm like, gosh, dang it, did I really just miss that bird? And then at about that time, I feel like water running down my face. And I'm like, gosh, dang it, I just scoped myself and I bet I'm just pouring. And I was, man. I mean, I was bleeding all down my face. And so then, I mean, that's not even the best part, right?
So did the blood come out of the camo?
So thankfully, I was able to get it over. Like, I got
brand
no
new
blood.
camo.
I got no. I know. So yeah. So I'm trying to keep
Kings,
it.
please send more.
Yeah. So well, I got it all on my freaking my bino harness from Marsupial, and Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, it sounded different on my mic. But anyways, so yeah, so we go over there and we're looking. I don't see any feathers. I don't see anything. And my buddy's like, "You freaking missed that turkey." And I'm like, "Dude, I can't believe this." I've never scoped myself since I was freaking 5 years old. And so we get to walking, and I look down and I'm like, "Man, I think I see blood." And so we look down, and by God, if we didn't find blood, we start blood trailing this turkey like we're blood trailing a freaking deer. And we finally get to like an opening into a field and we lose blood. And then we see some more blood, but then we're like, is that my blood or is that the turkey's blood? And we can't quite figure it out. We lost blood. So my buddy's like, I'm going to go back to last blood and I'm going to keep looking. I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to go walking. So I go walking and I'm on the phone. I'm trying to call one of my buddies. And next thing I know, I hear something. I look behind me. And here's this turkey freaking like limping, like running through the freaking like CRP. And I don't even think, I throw my phone on the ground and I just turn and shoot again. And my buddy's like, what is, and he comes running out and he sees this turkey, bopping across the field. And then if you've ever seen the movie Forrest Gump, like when he's running in Vietnam with his gun up and high knees it, that's what I'm doing. I'm chasing, so I chase this turkey across this CRP field. My binos fly out of my my bino pack because I'd had it pulled down, and he makes it to the timber. And so I take one step into the timber and freaking a log hits me right in the knee. I face plant in the freaking thing. I rip up my pants. And so he's still taking off. And so I grab my gun. So yeah, throw my gun whenever I fell. So I have to grab my gun real quick, get back within range, shoot again, and finally, roll him then. But dude, I can't, I lost my hat. The tree limb took my hat off. I mean, my buddy was like, that turkey's whooping your butt. Dude, it was, I mean, it was, I mean, it was
Man, I wish
bad.
I was a cameraman on
Man.
that.
I mean,
hunt.
just
20-pound
I won't,
bird just tore you up, son.
I won't play the video, like I won't play the whole video, but like just so people can see, like that are watching this podcast, like here is my face after I got scoped. I mean, it ate my lunch, man. So it was awesome. I mean, it was a fun hunt. Like, let me find this real quick. So here he comes. So like here he's walking, he's coming in. And he just fires off like right in front of us. And then he's kind of popping his head up.
Oh, you definitely hit him.
Yeah. And so yeah, but it was, dude, it was awesome. I mean, it was a good hunt. I mean, we got the bird. At the end of the day, it's all that matters. So
Did you eat him?
oh yeah, ate him last night. We
Last
cut him
night,
up. Yeah, we cut him up. And I had so come to find out, I mean I breast shot the absolute crap out of him. So that sucked. I had to dig BBs out like crazy and but yeah, let him sit in some salt water for a while just to try to pull the blood out, and then we diced him up and rolled him in some like garlic herb panko and then air fried it, and
Nice. Good.
It was like a Von Damme movie, all the blood.
Dude, so I called Josie. I FaceTimed Josie and I just had it on my face, and she immediately was like, "What is wrong with your face?" And I explained it to her. It was awesome. So yeah.
Well,
Yeah, it's
hey,
great.
you're alive. You made it.
It's been like that for all of our turkey hunts so far. I mean, Nebraska was a complete swing and a miss. That was horrible. I'll definitely never go anywhere except Western Nebraska because we didn't see any birds out there. But then Iowa, had a rough first morning because it was super cold and windy. And then Friday evening, we're going because you can hunt all day in Iowa. We're going back out and we get into a cornfield and there's a mess of like 20 birds. And we crouched down real quick, and I think they probably saw us. So, but anyways, we had reapers with us. So we kind of backtrack, come back around, and we found the 1 2-year-old that was like, "Not today, fools," and we put we kind of reaped up to him, and by God, here he came. And
What's a reaper?
so so you got like a turkey, like the frontal face of a turkey,
okay.
and then we put like a fan on the back, and then just basically go at him, and then man, he came right at us, and I just rolled him. So it was awesome.
Nice. Well,
Yeah.
next year it's bow only for you.
I know. Well, that's what I'm gonna do. I got to go to Kansas and go back to Nebraska. So I think that's what I'm gonna try to do when I go out there is um try to shoot them with my bow out there in Kansas and Nebraska.
It's a ton of fun.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, this year we didn't even see a gobbler so far. So
Yeah. No,
and
I definitely want to shoot I'm not gonna do it this year, but probably next year. I'm gonna shoot those like, decapitating style broadheads next year. So instead of body shooting them.
Yeah, man, whatever gets it done.
Yeah.
Well, hey, that's awesome. Well, I'm glad you had a good time. I'm glad you got them tagged out, and that's all we can ask for, right?
That's right. Yeah, and I gotta wait a week.
First blood for the Bowmen this year.
That's right.
Well,
Well,
different.
Yeah.
Too soon. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Multiple blood samples.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a good time. Hey,
There it is.
Oh, there you go.
You mount that on
Heck
your
yeah.
bow, huh?
Yeah.
Yep.
Got little twist ties on it, bow, whatever.
Yeah, those things are legit. I need to get one of those.
You plan on using it, Troy, or are you just
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
like?
I tried to last year. I just couldn't.
Do you
ever get
strap it on
close
your
to a
hat and you
bird.
just walk around the house with it? Piss
No,
your
it
wife
goes-
off?
It fits right on your bow, nice. And everything fits right through there, and it's sweet.
Yeah.
This one's ultimate predator.
Till
you'd see
someone
my love handles hanging on each side of it when I'm trying to go across the field.
like, what's that? I was watching something. I don't remember what I was
Yeah.
watching on YouTube, but a guy put a whole turkey mount on a remote control, like 4-wheel drive thing, and drove it.
I saw that.
Drove it out there. I was like, that's awesome.
That's awesome.
Well, we're going from turkey into mineral usage and antler growth, which I'm all about because I always say I'm going to go turkey hunting and I never end up having the time. Spring's hard for me. I mean, we have gardens to put in. We produce a lot of our own food here. We're doing a lot of banquet catering and stuff like that. The shop is 3D season, so everyone's wanting stuff done. So for me, be able to get out and go turkey hunting is pretty hard. But we got Mr. Shane Ellis here from Build the Bone, and we're proud to have him on. Thank you for coming. And let's talk about what's going on here. First of all, I want to start with, and I'm sure you've probably said this before on other places, but I want to know how you got into this. Like, no one just wakes up one day and says, "I'm going to put mineral together and I'm going to sell it and it's going to work." Like, what happened here?
Oh man, it's such a story. Growing up, we've been always been a pretty religious family, and I always believed everything happens for a reason, and no matter what, good or bad in life,
Amen.
you're right where you're supposed to be, right? So there's a lot of trials, tribulations. I'm not going to take you through everything. I'm 44 now and been working. I was pouring concrete with my dad, raking concrete, 10 years old, framing, like just always out there, and loved it. And long story short, my dad's from northern Minnesota. We grew up duck hunting, grouse hunting, bird hunting, right? So when we got the opportunity to deer hunt, we'd go to southern Ohio near Athens, and we would take a day or 2 days, depending. We were always in sports and school. And we'd go, and we were the brown, it's down, public land. You took it home and you ate it. So fast forward all these years, working hard, we finally got a place of ourselves in southern Ohio near Portsmouth. And almost 16 years, I tried everything on the market. I would go to these expos. I would be the guy that buy $400 or $500 of stuff, put out 12 cameras just to try to see what was the best. And I have a buddy of mine, which, kind of brings me back to the everything happens for a reason. And this whole thing has happened organically. And it's, I know I've heard that over and over, and I sometimes think that word's overused, but the guy that brought me to an Elk Foundation meeting in 2016 is now one of the owners with us. There's 4 owners of the company. So he took me to an Elk Foundation meeting, and I met Mr. Craig Colbreth, aka Papa Bone, from Brownsville, Kentucky. He was doing a little expo in the same convention center, but just next door. I went to use the restroom, and I started talking to this guy, and he was telling me about it. And he was just telling his story. And I couldn't believe how many vitamins and minerals he had in the mix. And he spent over 30 years doing this. And he had no intention of even selling it. Like, he finally been pushed enough to sell it. So I bump into this guy. I'm supposed to be in there. My buddy that's now part owner is an FFL dealer. I'm supposed to be helping him. And Mr. Craig was cash only, and I didn't have $20 to buy a 20-pound bag. And I took his card and I thought about it, went back to the Elk Foundation meeting. Time it was over, they were gone. I thought long and hard about it. I called him the next day and I said, Mr. Craig, I said, I'd like to buy 500 pounds from you. And he's from Brownsville's right near Mammoth Cave National Park down there in Kentucky. And he said, hell, Shane, you ain't even tried it yet. And I said, but there's something about our conversation. Something was different. I don't know. I can't explain it. But I literally drove down the next week and got 500 pounds from him and drove to my place in Portsmouth, Ohio, and put it out. And it was all by accident, really, truly. So 2 weeks go by. It was actually the first week of March that I met him. A week later, I went and put it out. 2 weeks later, I went and checked my cameras, and that's been 2016. I didn't have any SoCams. SoCams weren't really out. Checked my camera pictures, and they doubled in pictures, and a couple of them tripled. And I was like, oh my gosh, what is going on? Like, I couldn't believe it. I was excited, but at the same time was saying, what is going on here? I even called Mr. Craig and I said, please tell me this stuff is legal. What is going on with these? And he went even further to explain it to me, and it was just like, I honestly couldn't believe it. And I was like, where has this been 16 years before that? It was a game changer. The first year I used it, I thought I could tell a difference. I was just a consumer. I just was buying from him, but I started buying so much that he said, why don't you become a distributor for me? So since then, I've got it all over Ohio, and now with their help, we're in 42 different states. And it's been unbelievable just because it's mostly been word of mouth. We have very little marketing. We finally just had a new website done by FDO Outdoors. Final Descent is amazing. So that's helped a bunch here in the late, but it's just, I couldn't believe, and I still couldn't understand why it was happening. And so he goes into the late 80s. He started mixing it for himself, right? He was around Mammoth Cave National Park. He just knew his deer needed something. So he was just doing it for his deer and his deer only. All these years, he kept changing mixtures, changing different things, bringing stuff in from different parts of the United States, making his mixture until he finally got it. He feels like he perfected it in 2009 when his neighbors, he was the Folger coffee can man, giving it to all his neighbors around the county, letting them try it. And was doing it more just because he wanted the deer healthy. He had no intention, again, of even selling it. So he goes forward, 2014, to find us at University of Kentucky. They got everything they needed, and it came to market. And then 2 years later, 2016, that's when I saw him in Sharonville, Cincinnati. And when I saw year 2 of the minerals and what I could actually see the deer changing, whether it was a buck or whether it was a doe that had a special mark on her or something was changing. That was the first time I could ever truly see something different. I knew all these years minerals and everything it's good to have, and it's healthy, and it's what you need to do, but I could never see the deer changing. So year 3 comes along. My daughter's 15 now, but she was younger. We were looking through camera pictures in year 3. And I was like, what are all these spike bucks? Like, what is going on here? I mean, I was just kind of baffled because I was looking, of course, you greedy, looking for the bigger ones. And she goes, well, Daddy, they've been on billboard. And I thought, I had to stop for a minute. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I asked my brothers and other family friends. We collectively have a place down there together. And year 3, I said, let me know if you guys see any button bucks. Didn't tell them why, didn't say anything else. And by the end of the year, and we have nieces, nephews, my kids, nobody saw any button bucks. And I thought, wow, year 4, you could start seeing the difference. And year 5 was, I found a rack. It had 4 points on it. And its pedestal was, no kidding, about the size of my pinky. And I asked Papa Bo, and I said, what is that? He said, man, you're changing them. He goes, that wasn't a button buck. He said, maybe it been a spike, but it may have jumped to that. And I thought, there's no way, because that's just not what I grew up believing, right? couple years back, had the opportunity to work with Bone Maniacs out of Idaho. There's guys, Whitetail Maniacs out of Iowa. Whitetail Maniacs took it to Iowa, and they were telling me about their deer. They're like saying, our deer start out at 6-pointers, 8-pointers. And I was like, no way. Like that's impossible, right? You know, kind of like you're saying, New York. I grew up on, you know, spikes and 4-pointers, and it's just not possible. It's not genetically possible. So anyway, starting to see the evolution of my deer, and having that somebody else in a different state saying, no, it is possible. And now watching, you know, 2024 here, 6 years, I guess, oh my gosh, 8 years. This spring was the start of 8 years. And it's made the difference in our deer, not only the mass, the time length, but it's just the overall health. You know, your doe is the one that's bringing you the next biggest buck. It's not that big buck. The doe is the most important though. So Mr. Craig did the overall health of the deer herd. And he studied herbivores in general. So we have black bears and so many other species of animals that actually love it. But he went even deeper. He started studying their stomach, right? And he started studying the secretions of the stomach. And and I hope he doesn't kill me for this, because I like to use his Southern accent. But I said, they come to it so consistent. How did you do that? And he said, well, consistency is key. And he goes, hell, Shane, it's just like a big old Rolade. It's easy on their stomach and they love it.
Man, you almost sound like him.
In the most simplest terms, that made sense to me. And I thought, okay, you know. And so watching these deer, and my cameras weren't blowing up because I had 100 different deer from all the counties coming around. I was having the same deer in a 24-hour period, 2, 3, sometimes 4 times, you know. It was unbelievable. And truly the first time that I thought, this man's got something, you know. And if I hadn't had the history of trying everything under the sun before that, I wouldn't be able to say that. So it was, it went from there, from me buying so much to now I'm part owner, director of sales. And like I said, it's mostly been word of mouth. It's funny. Started in little stores. I used to load my truck and trailer. I'd leave 5 a.m. Saturday morning in Ohio, and I'd circumvent the state. Like I literally would go and hit the stores, and, you know, because nobody heard of us. Why would they buy a pallet from us? So I'd sell them 4 or 5 buckets. I'd let them try it for themselves. I'd just, you know, and now every store's buying to buy the pallet, and they can't believe, like, so everything I told them is now true, right? And they're seeing it for themselves. And that's the most powerful thing, is for people to see it for themselves. And Mr. Craig's the best at the shows about it, right? Everybody loves meat and pop a bone, but he always tells them, he said, hell, I ain't gonna sell you a bunch. Just try a bucket. You take a bucket, put your camera on it, and he says, I won't have to tell you anymore. And it's true, you know, that it speaks for themselves. And like most of us, industry is flooded. I've tried everything. Most people have. Like, how much money? We don't even want to put dollars, how much money we spent on trying different things. But when people try it and they see it for themselves and they come to their own opinion, that's when it's the best. And those are the best phone calls and the texts and the deer. Oh my gosh, look at this. Can you believe, you know, and that's the neatest part. And this all started just by, we want to make him proud because he spent so long on it. And it's amazing. I really have not seen another product like it out there.
Yeah. So I will say I've spent and probably tried thousands of different mineral companies and whatever, and I don't see a difference in what they eat and what they take and what they do. And you know, I run cameras all year round. I own my own property, have my own farms, and you know, I don't see a difference. So what do you think, in your opinion, is the difference between what Build the Bone has to offer and others out there? What do you think? And without getting into details of special ingredient and stuff like that, but you know, there's got to be something, right? Because what I've found, and speaking to a couple other, you know, people that run mineral companies, and you look at a lot of their ingredient is salt, right? That's their filler. It's cheap. it covers the basis, it fills the buckets, it makes them their money, and then they can still list all these other ingredients in there, but the basis is of it is salt. So what's the difference between this product?
Well, to be honest, the big basis of ours is salt as well, but there's tons of different kinds of salt, right?
Mhm.
And there's tons of different ways of doing it. And I had to learn myself because when I first looked at the label and I bought that from them, I saw the extra vitamins in there and the extra minerals, and I was just curious, and that's what made me do it. And then when the deer came in so consistently, I quickly said, I don't really care what the label says. My
Yeah,
deer are telling me what they like and what they don't like, you know?
exactly.
And I think that's why he's done it the way he's done it, is because the whole way along, his deer have told him the story. His deer told him what to change, what to mix. Like he didn't go to college to study that. He didn't have a biologist. He's a certified biologist himself, just from all the work and the efforts, 30 some years,
Yeah.
and the soil he studied and things. But he let his animals tell him what it is. And I think that's like, not to be dances with the wolves and that kind of stuff, but I think that's why it's so much different, is because he watched the cameras, he watched the deer, he watched his deer change, he tweaked it, he tweaked it, he tweaked it until the point where he could see such growth and such health on his deer that he knew he had it. And that's amazing to me. Like, who has that
Yeah.
kind of patience, right? And
I don't.
me neither. We want it all now, and we want it. But I think that's why it's different, is because he trialed and erred for 30 years and he finally got up to that sweet spot.
Mhm.
But he let the deer tell him. He didn't let anything else. He didn't go and break down every molecule and every, thing like that. He knew what they needed, studied enough on the stomachs and things, and the digestive process was the biggest thing. So I actually called him earlier today because, funny enough, I don't know if you can see back in my shirt, but it says, when the blood's flowing, the bones are growing.
Yeah.
Right?
Nice.
My wife loves it.
Yeah. So he was telling me it's cardiovascular health is where he kind of finally ended up at, right? And it increases the red blood cell count, which increases the blood flow. And that blood flow is where you're getting these big bucks jumping into their antlers, right? It's not a ton of calcium. It's not what people think. I had to see it for myself because I grew up thinking it was all calcium. It was all,
Yeah.
that's the only thing is bone growth, right? Me drinking milk. I wish these son of guns would drink milk because maybe they would get bigger racks, but it wasn't. It was a cardiovascular health, the increase of the red blood cell count, and that blood flow. So,
Yeah.
enough
Widening the arteries going up.
100%. So,
Yep.
blood's flowing, bones growing was funny.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So it's,
Great.
but it's the truth, and it's not just the bucks though. It's your doe. It's a prenatal vitamin for the doe, and I don't want to say same things that all the other mineral companies are doing. I'm just want to try to hit on why I think it's different, and I think that he really watched his deer change before he finally got to where he's at. And I've seen the results. Like I said, 16 years before that, I could never see the deer change. I never knew a difference. I knew it was good. I threw all sorts of stuff out there. But to watch them change and to watch them now and to watch my button bucks go to spikes to maybe the first track, I can't say for sure, have a 4 on one side of his pedestal as smart as that. Like, I'm watching these deer grow, and it's amazing.
Wow.
And I don't think anybody that ever hunts, especially if you're fortunate enough to own property, it's not about, if you put in the time and the effort, it's okay to wait 5-6 years. Like, that's what it's going to take to change your deer. And mind you, Southern Ohio, where I'm at, there's no crop fields around. I'm in big hill country. So the crops are so far away. These deer are literally big hill country deer, eating briars in the winter, eating things. So even more impressive that these deer are changing. Now, I think that's where you're getting some of these big jumps from these other big deer, like behind me and Johnny Maxwell buck from Final Descent. They have great food. They have, they're also have a protein feed and they have the right vitamins and minerals, and it's just blowing them up genetically. But
Yeah.
it's so exciting for me because we've only scratched the surface. We are a small company. We all have full-time jobs, but I'm telling you, I told them a long time ago when I first saw it, I said, this is the next biggest thing in the hunting industry. And I said, I'm glad to be a part of it, because again, it was all by accident. And that's where I feel like it was truly meant to be. So
Awesome.
I can tell you, I've been working with them for 6 years, and the property I started it on, I ended up losing that property. Went to another property where I killed this deer here, but I haven't seen a spike in 3 years. I mean, they're just not there. I mean, our year-old deer are having, most of them have 8 points already. So, I can say it's from Build-A-Bone. I don't know for a fact, but obviously something's changed,
Yep.
So,
Absolutely.
But do you remember, Noel, when Brad Clay Final Descent called me and about the Johnny Maxwell, and I actually was like, man, don't tell them about Build-A-Bone because everybody's going to think they're all going to grow 200 and some inches. And that's, and he said, well, the only difference has been, Shane, 2 years we've been using Build-A-Bone. He said, and we produced that animal. And
we got photos of them at 160 inches the year before.
Same situation as
Same
this
situation.
guy. Yes, sir.
Blew to 214. That just doesn't happen without something else.
No.
And they're not protein feed. That's just that's a 5,000 acre ranch. That's just.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Wide
And
open, 5,000 acres, half of it, or a little bit of it's in Texas, most of it's in Oklahoma.
It also shows the lack of nutrients that's on that property. Then,
yes,
that buck would have never grown into its potential without that supplement feed, and mineral added, that was there. And it just showed it needed that boost. It needed that growth.
And I can tell you too, also, like in the spring, right now, I don't have my cameras out of batteries, but so I'll have does come into the Build-A-Bone sites, and they're bringing, like right now they haven't been born, but later on, the fawns will be with them, and those fawns will stay over there, and they're at those mineral sites longer than the mama is.
Yeah.
So that tells me that they need it, or they wouldn't be going after it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's one of the neatest things that's been for me to watch this, is that I've watched fawns who barely could walk, truly, and the mama brings them to the minerals. Like, it's just like that fawn could not have been a day or two old, and the mom brings it to there. It's like they know what they need. Papa Bone's got this saying, and we give him a hard time. We love him to death, but he's funny as heck. But he said, it's not only what they need, it's what they like. And an animal always knows what they need and what they like. And that's why you're seeing that. And that's why you're seeing this boost of animals coming to it. And it's awesome. It's so much fun. I can't even tell you.
We need to do another one and bring Craig with you. That'd be a fun podcast. That dude's something else, man.
He is. He's as honest as the day is long. He's got more sayings. I'm not even gonna
sign us up. Let's do it.
Oh man, yeah. We actually want to make we want to have his own IG page and a cartoon character of him and all his sayings. I'm telling you, people will you just won't even understand it. It's awesome.
We're gonna do that with Cedric too.
I run their social media pages, and I've been begging them to get him to his own, because he gets on there and he'll talk to people. I'm like, dude, it's a business page, bro. But he's something else.
So I got some just basic questions.
Sorry, I've never had an ear pod in before. I just lost it.
So I actually got a funny story. So I've gone through so many AirPods, losing them at the airport, leaving them, whatever. So I recently joined the gym near us here, and I've been going there. And so I bought a new set because whatever, they're not all they're cracked up to be. They fall out, stuff like that. So I bought a new set of Sony ones. And so today I had them in listening to a podcast while I was rototilling the garden, and one of them popped out of my ear, and my 9-month-old Malamute dog picked that thing up and ate it. I was like, you son of a... I was so mad. I was
Did
like,
you
and they
listen to
weren't
the
cheap.
podcast
It
for
was
his
like
stomach, or-
whatever. I was like, and they went disconnected, and then blah, 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 and they wouldn't let it go. And I'm like, man, you're gonna be shitting Sony for. I was so angry. I don't mean to change topics, but that just reminded me
funny.
when it popped out of your ear. But so the product, is it granular or is it liquid, or they're both?
Yes, so it's all granular, and
Okay.
I feel like one of the biggest things he did is he used a 13 grain mineral, so it leaches slower into the ground. So the salt is what the deer really want, right? But
Yeah.
the salt's the first thing to get into the soil. I don't care if you have clay. We've had it in Alabama, Florida, the Panhandle. I mean, honestly, I know of at least 42 different states people have used it in. And once it hits that clay pan, even if you're in the southern states and you get through that sand and there's a clay pan down there somewhere,
Yep.
it stops. And when it hits that clay pan, man, those deer go for it. And it's a salt they really want. The stuff that he put in it, it's a mixture of things around the United States. And I try to tell people, I said, no matter where you're at in the US, there's something not native to your soil. And for him to create this mixture and to study soils all across the United States, what we're lacking here in Ohio, it's got a little something we need, right? What they're lacking in Texas, it's got a little something that it needs. Like it honestly is the most incredible mix to work in so many different states and for people to see the difference. So I think 13 grain mineral leaching slower is a big part of it, right? You're not losing that salt. So in order to get to the salt, they have to dive down and they have to go through your minerals in the soil or the minerals in the stump. So they are consuming way more than they would naturally. And I think that's the big boost. And then being easy on their stomach again, just having come into it over and over and over and over and consistent. And man, there's such small increments in these, what they're consuming, but makes such a big difference. You know, I think you said it earlier, as just far as they must have been lacking that, right? Or they didn't have that, or it's not, you don't need 50% calcium. I'm sorry, I've seen the difference. You know, you need very little. We have, I think, 1.5% calcium. Don't quote me on it, because it got to the point where I didn't care what the label said. I saw what my cameras and I saw the deer changing. And that's where we really try to tell people, just try it. Try it.
Yeah.
I always say, let you be the judge on it. But there's so many things I want to say, but I don't want to, you can't say it for sure. But I know I've had some people that have been 15, 20 years on a certain product. We'll never badmouth another product. I'm just glad there's more and more people doing things for the deer, right? It has come a long way in the last 15 years. Even myself, I didn't know about it when I was growing up. I didn't know Kentucky was one of the first states I realized, like everybody down there, they were pushing minerals and vitamins for their deer. And watching people do this and manage their deer, I think it's why we're seeing a big swing in the growth. And Ohio's one of the top states for big bucks. And to even impress the guys up here, I mean, there's been web show guys, there's been guys like Final Descent. I mean, so many guys have been in the industry so long, and to wow them, we don't need to say anything else. They've seen it for themselves. They've made their decision, and it's just it truly speaks for itself.
Yeah.
Here in this county that I live in, they actually don't even let us put minerals out.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, so we're considered
That's a shame.
what's called it sucks. We're considered what's called a CWD county, and
Sure.
so they won't let you do it.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah,
But
because some places you can put it down, but you have to pick it up for hunting season.
yeah, I mean, but like that,
That's how we are.
And Brian Keitlinger's the same way. He uses build a bone, but he has to do it in a certain time frame.
Yeah.
And he can't let it soak in the soil either. He has to put a plastic tub down.
Yeah. It stinks. It freaking stinks.
Well, I can put it up here so I can take Cedric's share. You can just
There we go.
Skip away.
That's where you fill your pockets, Cedric, when you're walking out and be like, oh, I have a little hole in my pocket.
Yeah.
This is what it looks like, by the way. I don't know if we can see it. Let's see. Does it
No.
show up?
It's
No,
kind of
too
blurry.
blurry.
It's kind
No.
of
I was gonna show you
blurry.
what the granules look like. That was a picture we took of it pouring it out, but
Yeah.
I got you.
too much light
Um,
glare in here.
So the bucket size that you have behind you, I see you have like a 2.5 gallon, a 5 gallon. What's it costing?
So we like to tell people, really teach people, and I don't mean teach if they don't know what they're doing, because I didn't know what I was doing, but it's a system, right? It's a year-long system. So we have 20-gallon buckets and 20-pound buckets and 50-pound buckets. So we ask people to put the minerals out sometime, depending on your area, February to April. Use 40 pounds now and refresh with 20 pounds every 2 to 3 months. So 100 pounds is the cycle for the year. It is the build the bone system. If you have a higher deer density, you might use 120. I'll be honest, some people, even including myself, you get so excited you end up putting out more than you really need to. And I know better, but you just can't help it sometimes. But truly, 100 pounds will run that mineral system all year long. So our big buckets are $55. So you buy 2 buckets, you're $110 for the year plus tax.
That's
So I
crazy.
always tell people, and I quit running corn. I mean, Build the Bone not only brought the deer in, but it let me inventory my bucks in the off season. So that was what was different from all the other stuff I was using, right? They'd hit it off, a little bit. And then about June, July, it seemed like they cut off. We've had so many hardhorn bucks being killed over the mineral sites that I honestly can't even explain it, but 2 of the big buckets, 100 pounds, like I said, 120 will run your mineral site all year long. And if people keep that system going, 40 now, 20 every 2 to 3 months, it brings you right back. And then it's just a consistent. So it's not only for that buck growing his horns, but that doe's pregnant in November, right?
Yeah.
December. It's automatically in her system. So guess what?
Exactly.
That fawn that comes out. So that's why we try to teach in the system. We've all been guilty, especially me growing up, being a big bird hunter, is that you get closer to hunting season. You're like, oh, I need that next best thing. Well, that's great, but you really need it all year long to see the difference and the cost. Like I said, I quit running the corn since they started losing probably and I always keep on the just the way I always done it. But everybody's like, you don't run the corn. The first year that we used it, we had 5 or 6 shooters. Right? That was ridiculous. I'm within 15 minutes of all these deer, and
Was it your field that it was actually in?
I'm sorry.
Was it your field that deer actually was in when it got killed?
No, I wish, but I know exactly where it was at, which is even crazier.
That's why we know it was poached, because it was in his field.
Yeah,
Over Build the Bone.
Yeah.
I had pictures, damn it. No, that's funny, but it truly is. It's different, and to watch the deer down there grow the way they're growing, and it's just. I was getting ready to say, some of these people have been on the same mineral. They're true to whatever they've been using 15, 20 years. I honestly don't know, and anybody could message me after this and tell me different, but I've not had one person go from using what they've been using all those years, use Build the Bone and go back to what they were using. I don't care if it's 10 years, 15, 20 years. So that's been
Enough
impressive.
said right there.
Do you do any preparation to your site, like right before you're gonna apply it or whatever? Like, I know some people will kind of like disc up the ground or something to help it get in. Or what do you do anything like that?
I don't.
Yeah.
I kind of was the field testing guy, and I started thinking it was funny. So my one sister had 14 acres, so I went into weeds, literally grass up to my chest, and I dumped 40 pounds out. And in 2.5 weeks, it was down to bare dirt. And I was like,
Wow.
what the hell's going on? So I just kept trying different things and to see if there was a wrong way or a right way. I know people say scrape the ground back and do all that, which it's wonderful. The leaching in the soil is where the deer feel more natural, right? But I dumped it on everything possible, anywhere possible, behind my house here and on a hillside, and they still tear it up. So there's really no wrong way to put it out.
Yeah. I mean, I just say, because we've had some construction going on here, and I just tilled up all the yard behind me for some gardens and stuff. The minute you disturb that soil, the deer come anyway
Yes.
to it.
Yes.
Whether there's something in it or not, they love it, and they just sit there and they just graze on it. It's so weird to see. But then you're throwing a mineral based product on top of that. It's definitely gonna work. But I'm definitely intrigued, man. I mean, it's like I said, I've used a bunch of product that I haven't noticed a difference at all. But it's the proof's in the pudding. I mean, it's there. And then I like that there's an actual process to use it. Like, because most people are like, just put out as much as you can, like, dump it on logs, dump it on this. You need 300 pounds, like whatever. Like, no, there's actually like follow the process and you'll have enough to, you don't need to go overboard with it, because some people are like, dump 10,000 pounds of corn and, you'll be great. More deer will come. But so that's what's attractive to me, is that like, okay, this is how you use it and this is why.
Yes.
Yeah,
And to be
mentioned-
honest, it's affordable. It is affordable for every single one of us.
Yeah.
I'm in construction. So every time we dig a basement, it is funny that deer tracks overnight automatically. It's just they can't help themselves. So, but it's affordable. And honestly, all that corn I was running all year long, not to mention all the other stuff I was putting in there. Really,
Not to
in the
mention,
end,
it's
I
like
was saving.
$12 a bag now.
Oh man, it's crazy. It's crazy. But I was saving money, and the first year, like I said, we had $5 to $6 inventoried as far as shooters, 140 and bigger. And mind you, when we got that property down there, 120, 130 inch deer were all the bigger we were seeing,
Yeah.
And to watch this evolution, and we've shot 170s, and now we're watching bigger ones, and I feel like that's one of the hardest places to grow deer is in those big hill countries with very little food. So it's been awesome.
Great. So now, how do our listeners here, how do they get it?
So you can go to buildbone.com. We actually ship 20-pound bags out of there because that's the only way the postal service will take it. It's been the way that, the biggest thing we face is the weight, right?
Yeah.
And the cost of it. So that's the hard part. We're slowly
That's the
but
first
surely.
thing I got was bags.
Yes,
Years
sir.
back.
It was, yes.
Yeah.
Yep. But there's some people, like I said, your average hunter or most people like us, if you only have a couple sites, you don't mind spending that extra money for shipping because you only need 100 pounds for the whole year. And I've got guys in North Carolina order 4 buckets and they're like, I just have 2 sites. So I don't mind paying the shipping. You're saving me on the corn you're running all year. So it really works out. And we really try to help people with shipping. We're slowly getting to more stores. You're going to start seeing us really grow. Help of Final Descent and Knoll, and we're starting to get a base where people are recognizing us, and stores are calling us to put them in there. We just had a guy from Louisiana, Patrick Savoy, out of the blue, calls Papa Bone, and I call him, and he said, "Man, I've been watching you guys a year and a half." He said, "Something's different." He said, "My wife owns a store. We'd like to put it in there." So I'm not even having to call stores. Stores are calling us and asking how to do it. So it's just, it feels really good because it's just, everything is coming together and everything is coming naturally, and I don't care if it takes 50 years. I tell the guys all the time, if you sell 1 million buckets and you make $1 a bucket, that's a pretty darn good year. So the most exciting thing is that it's affordable. People love it. People consistently say good things about us. And, it's like building a good house with somebody, right? One person says one bad thing, it messes up the 20 you did before that. So to have all the praises and all the people and the people like Noel have been in the industry for so long do this and see this and promote us is just like, I don't have to say anything else. Like, listen to them again, just try it for yourselves.
Yeah.
I can tell you, you guys know I run several different social media platforms for several different companies in this industry, and I don't have any like Build-A-Bone where there's so many people that are sending us messages. I mean, and they're just fired up about what they're seeing. And I tell Shane about it all the time. It just blows me away because as many platforms as I run, I don't see even close to that with anybody else. I mean, not even a smidgen. And that just goes to show you that people are really seeing what's going on with it, and they're getting excited about it.
I love it.
Sweet. Yeah, and that's why, that's why you're here. We believe in the products that we use and what's out there. And Noel said that you're excited to come on and be a part of it and pitch the product. And however we can help, you guys drive your business and move it forward. I know that I own a shop as well, so maybe we'll chat a little bit after this and see if we can get some in there. And Cedric can't use it down there, but I know Troy can. And
yeah, I got a couple places in mind already.
we can get this stuff growing. But I appreciate you coming on there, Shane, and talking about the product and pitching it out there to our guests. We've been growing here over the past year. We've had a bunch of great guests coming on, and you're one of them. And thank you to Noel and Cedric for coming on and being a part of this. But guys, have any parting words for us here before we move on?
Yeah. I got a truck full of it right now. I can't wait to get down there and get it out. So
yeah, there you go.
we really do need. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say thank you guys so much. Like, you don't even know. I'm so backward when it comes to this kind of stuff. Noel laughs at me all the time. It's just to even be on this, it feels awesome. But all the credit goes to Papa Bone. All those years, his son Corey is part owner with us. He's created the logo. The people love the logo, whether their name's Brian or their last name. Not even a hunting, you know what I mean? People love the logo and they love our saying. So it's just kind of an all around. And one of the Kyle Colbrith is Corey's brother, Papa Bone's other son, and he said, for us, it's not just hunting; it's a way of life. And so the last T-shirt we made, it's got a black bee on it, and on the back, it's got an old tree stand, reminds them of their grandpa's stand they grew up in. And on the back of it, it says, "It's a way of life." And then down in the corner in the high grass, it's got a deadhead kind of hiding. You got to look close to find it. But Corey's the creative man behind this. Jerry's our other partner. He's our business development. The four of us are excited. And like I said, I can't thank you guys enough for even being on here. I would never guess that we'd be to this point. So thank you.
Awesome.
You gotta bring Papa Bone with you next time. That's
Absolutely.
all I ask. I wanted you to get on here the first time, and then next time let's have him on.
Yeah.
Oh, we will.
We got to do that. Absolutely.
You can't help but love him. You really can't. And
he's something else.
He is something else. So we'll definitely do that. Maybe we'll get all four of us together and we'll do another one. It'd be wonderful. You guys would. You need to meet the man. You need to meet the man behind it all. I mean, he's like I said, I already said it, but he's as genuine as the day is long, and just never intended to sell it, but is so proud when people come up to the shows. It's not. He doesn't care if you buy 10 buckets or 1 bucket. He just wants them to try it, and he's so proud. People now, the people we've been around long enough, they come, especially the Columbus, Ohio show, and they're like, "Papa Bone, women, men, everybody, boys, girls, said, look at the deer I shot last year using Build-A-Bone," and that fills that man's heart more than anything. And
nice.
And so that's what it's kind of all about. And get to this point with it being that way, I just think it's going to continue to go, and it's doing the right thing, and it's working, and it's I don't know, it's fun. I think it's meant to be. For some reason I'm here. I can't explain why, but
great. Well, we appreciate you being here with us and going through it. So we will definitely shout this from the rafters and get everyone out there looking at it. And we'll go from there. But we appreciate you having on, Shane, Noel, Cedric, Troy. Any last parting words from you all?
No, thanks for being on.
All right.
Thanks.
It's been a good
Well,
one.
Nice to meet you guys.
Nice
Thank
to meet
you.
everyone.
Get you on. We've talked about it for a while. I'm glad you're on now.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you.